Aloha. Thank you for joining us for another episode of today's topic. My name is Tom Tanimoto. I'm an attorney licensed to practice law in the state of Hawaii. And as always, I would like to thank my good friend, fellow attorney, and producer of this show, Bobby Bautista, for the opportunity to be a part of this program. Now, we've showcased many different topics in the past, and previously we've had some guests on regarding the Hawaii International Film Festival presented by Halekulani, and today I would consider this perhaps a part 2 of that. So without further ado, I would like to introduce my guests. And so, ladies, welcome.
Thank you for having us.
Okay, and so if you could just tell us your names and just a little bit about yourself before we get into the nuts and bolts of the program.
Sure. So I'm Beckie. I'm the new executive director of the Hawaii International Film Festival. This fall festival is November 2nd through the 12th, presented by Halekulani. We're so excited, and we're going to be sharing a little bit about what films are coming out this year.
Wonderful. My name is Anna Page. I'm the co-director of programming at the Hawaii International Film Festival. I've been with the festival for 7 years, and I have a background in film studies, and I'm very excited to present the program this year to everybody.
Okay, so we have a new event coming up. Tell us a little bit about that, where it's going to be at, what's going on, maybe even how much a movie costs, and any of that, any of the details?
Sure. So this is our 37th annual Hawaii International Film Festival. The festival was started in 1981, so it's pretty exciting for us. The annual festival is coming up November 2 through 12 on Oahu, and then November 16 and 19 will be on the Big Island in Kauai, and that's going to be in Hilo and in Waimea Town. So the Oahu Festival, November 2 through 12, is primarily going to be at Regal Dole Cannery Theaters. That's our flagship venue. But we will have a couple satellite screenings for 2 different events during the festival. The bulk of it will be at Regal Dole Cannery Theaters. We're pretty excited. This is going to be a great program for us. We have 160 films from over 40 countries, which is thrilling. And we can't wait. Coming up very, very soon.
Anything you want to add to that, Beckie?
Yeah, as part of the festival, we love to also celebrate the films and the filmmakers and the local industry that joins us. And so we have a huge opening night reception at the Halekulani. And our closing night this year, which we're very excited about, and we can get in a little bit to some of the films that we're showing, is at the Hawaii Theater, the historic Hawaii Theater. So we're so excited to be partnering with them. And our closing night reception and the film will be there. And the closing night film this year is Go for Broke. It is a local film, and it follows the 442nd out of Hawaii. Do you want to talk more about that?
Sure. It's the full title is Go for Broke: An Origin Story, and it's a full-length feature narrative film about the origins of the legendary 442nd troop who came from Hawaii in World War II. It's actually a part of a planned trilogy. This is the first installment. We have the world premiere at the Hawaii Theater, so we're very excited about that. And it's going to be a really big and exciting event for us this year.
So you mentioned the trilogy. Is they going to be produced annually or every 2 years or?
They're still working on the plan for that. This first film has been a long time in production, so we'll wait and see. But they do have a website where you can find out more information about upcoming films.
Okay. So and what about just in general? It may be difficult to talk about, but you said 160 films.
Yes.
What kind of genres are we talking about?
Sure. Well, as veteran film festival attendees will know, our festival films will really follow our mission, which is to bring together Asia, the Pacific, and North America through film. So we do have a strong focus on Asian cinema and Pacific cinema. This year, again, is no exception. We have a huge number of films from East Asia, particularly Japan, Korea, China, Hong Kong, Taiwan, and India. While we also have a really strong focus this year on locally made films, films made in Hawaii, and indigenous films from the Pacific. So everywhere from New Zealand and Samoa to Hawaii is included in that as well.
And we have other sections, like our European cinema section. We have some really strong contenders coming out of the European market this year. And we have our awards buzz gala section, that are films that we're going to be showing, and then you will hear about them come Oscars and the awards season. We have a new section this year that's Eat, Drink, Film, we're bringing it back. And it is culinary films, so films about food, about drink, about just the experience of community that happens around food and restaurants. And we have a new anime section. Do you want to talk about the anime section?
Sure. Pretty excited about that. That for our anime fans, due to a significant number of strong titles in the anime area this year, we are bringing back Planet Anime. So that's really exciting. We have 3 films in that program this year, and also our opening night film is a really big anime title. So we're pretty excited about Planet Anime. The opening night film is actually directed by Hiromasa Yonebayashi, who is a really big Studio Ghibli anime director. He's worked with Hayao Miyazaki, and he's directed the last few Studio Ghibli titles, so we know that's going to be a huge, huge hit, and that's called Mary and the Witch's Flower. So that's pretty exciting this year as well.
And that's November 2nd.
November 2nd.
Go ahead.
Okay, so now when I have the good fortune to look at these titles, and there's all kinds of things going on. So what I see is, over the years, a lot of changing and a lot of growth, I would call that. Where has this come from, so to speak? How did it all start out? How is this endeavor growing?
Sure. Well, the film festival in 1981, started by Jeanette Paulson Hariniko, was started as part of the East-West Center. So it was an East-West Center program. Those of you that may have attended the festival back then, it was completely free. There were 7 films from around the world, and it was pretty much all held at the Varsity Theater, which is no longer there. But after about through the 80s, as we came into the 1990s, HIFF became an independent arts organization, nonprofit, and became independent from the East-West Center. And at that point, that's when the festival started to grow and evolve under Jeanette's leadership. Obviously, since then, we've grown exponentially from the original 7 films to 160 now. We also show short films as well as feature-length titles, which was not a part of the original program. And we've really expanded our geographic focus across the globe, including programs like Beckie mentioned, having a really strong European program, a really strong awards buzz gala program where we showcase the Oscar-run titles for the year and some of the biggest American hits of the year. And also just really raising the profile on our Asian Pacific program since then.
But I also think that, so much of the success of the Hawaii International Film Festival and so much of what makes it so important in the community is that, as the world sort of over the last 37 years has become so much easier to access, it's also harder, and media's become so much easier to access, and I know we talked about that last time, but it's harder to find those really amazing stories and connections. I was just the other night on a PBS show, people were talking about, how do you essentially connect with your neighbors, and how do you feel a connection to the world? And through films from around the world that HIFF is bringing in, you get access to real stories and real communities, and it's also really entertaining, and they're high quality, and it's a way, you know, to bring people together in a really special way, and it's a way for, you know, people who live on this island of Hawaii to be connected with cultures all across the world, and that's part of why, you know, we're so proud to present so many different countries and so many films from, you know, internationally.
What drives both of you to do what you do? You know, I mean, just from a layman's standpoint, you know, watching a movie is, you know, fun thing to do.
Yeah.
But it's still work, right? But so what you both have a, you know, sort of are very passionate about it. What drives you in terms of the work you do to, you know, deliver such an excellent product?
Oh, it's a big question. Big question there. You know, I've been passionate about film for many years, and I think part of what makes me passionate about film is partly to do with what Beckie mentioned. Its ability to bring together communities, be a window to the world, to bring cultures and communities that we may never get to experience in our everyday life into our world through cinema. The power of storytelling, the power of film as a storytelling medium, it can have impact that is larger than we could ever imagine. So I think that has really spurred my passion for film. I was really passionate. I did film production in my undergraduate degree, and I really sort of discovered my passion for film in that process. But it really was not until I moved to Hawaii in 2004 that I started to attend the Hawaii International Film Festival, and this was way before I ever worked at HIFF. And I had, although I had studied film, I was doing something else for a couple of years, and I started to attend HIFF. And I got to experience these films from all across Asia, the Pacific, and the world that I never knew existed before. And it spurred in me a renewed passion for film and for sharing these stories. And it was really through the influence of the film festival that I, in that period of my life, decided to go back to school to study film. And
yeah, I mean, I think that for me it's similar. I think I love film and I love doing what I do because I think that out of all the mediums that we have, internet, social media, books, newspapers, film is the way that people learn the most about themselves. And I know that could be sort of a controversial thing to say, but you know, by being able to see a version of humans on the screen, or whether it's through expanding your imagination or your creativity or identifying and resonating with stories, film is how people can take a look at who they are and how they interact with themselves and the world around them, and make changes to make the world a better place. And that's why I do what I do, and that's why I think that HIFF is so powerful, because we're bringing that to the community, and even more so specifically this year, you know, we're highlighting stories from the Pacific region and Made in Hawaii, right? We have such a strong Made in Hawaii section, and we've shifted our entire awards category to pay more attention to what's happening here. And I think that HIFF, with its legacy of 37 years of showcasing films internationally and in receiving international press, it's time to start shining that light on the stories from this region. And it's time to start really amplifying the voices here that may not be as recognizable or as heard around the world. So that's a huge part of what we're doing this year in our festival.
I understand that, you know, aside from the staple movies that are being shown, and you know, you have opening night, closing night, there's other things going on that make up the film festival. Can you talk a little bit about that?
In addition to film screenings,
right.
You mean? That's correct. We actually do have, well, we have several events during the festival, different various receptions and private events and public events. But we also have educational programs that include free public seminars. We will have a wonderful panel this year on local filmmaking called Hometown Heroes that we're very excited about. And also an Indigenous Pacific Islander panel that will happen midweek at Arts at Mark's Garage. That's very exciting as well. So we have these types of educational opportunities that people might not always be aware of. We also bring filmmakers to schools and hold screenings for students from across the island of Oahu. So.
And on Kauai
And on Kauai and the Big Island.
Yeah.
Yep.
So we do our educational initiatives across the state. So we also have our big awards gala.
Yes.
And that is, the glamorous event. We bring in stars from all around the world. This year, it will be November 10th, Friday. And our awards gala is presented by the Halekulani Corporation. This year, we're really excited. So I mentioned we changed the way our competition films work. So previously, our competition films, which are sort of like regarded as, those are the juried films in the film festival. We've done narratives from across the world, and we've done documentaries, and that's sort of what the jury is looking at and judging, and that wins an award. This year, our competition films are made in Hawaii. So our jury is looking at the films that are made in Hawaii, and those are the films, both feature and short, that will be receiving a competitive award. We're also honoring people, filmmakers, and greats in the film industry. So we have 3 major awards that we're giving out this year. We have our Lifetime Achievement Award, and that is going to legendary actor Bill Pullman, who you may recognize as the president in Independence Day, While You Were Sleeping, which is everyone's, favorite romantic movie from the 90s. And he'll be coming, and he'll be receiving our Lifetime Achievement Award. And then we also have a Career Achievement Award, and that is going to Masato Harada, who is a legendary Japanese film director and actor. Most people might know him from The Last Samurai. When did that movie come out?
It's a number of years.
Yeah, but so he acted in The Last Samurai, and he is also, we're showcasing his new film that he directed, Sekigahara, at this year's film festival. And then we also are bringing back Taika Waititi, who will be receiving a special Pacific Islander Filmmaker Award. Taika has been to the festival many times. We have been following his career for a decade, if not longer than that. A few years ago, we showed his hit film, What We Do in the Shadows. Before that, we showed Boy. And now, on November 3rd, his new film, Thor, will be premiering, across the world in theaters. So we're really excited to bring him back. He's such a great example of a success story from this region, and we're just thrilled to be able to honor him to do that.
And that awards night, what makes up that night? I mean, let's say I want to go, and people are invited, obviously, right? How do we go about that?
So you email us events@hiff.org, and you can make a reservation. It's a really lovely evening. It's a 5-course meal with wine from the Halekulani, which is the best food, on the island. And then we have live music. We show clips of the films. It's what you see on TV when you look at award shows. So the information is actually on our website at hiff.org, and you can find out all the information there.
And there's possibly an opportunity to interact with these
There's
special
definitely
folks?
an opportunity to interact with all the special folks. And those are just our 3, top folks. We have many more filmmakers that attend that event that we bring into the festival as well. So.
And so that day...
And that's when, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. That's when we will also announce the winners of the Made in Hawaii competition. So that person will be receiving an award as well that night.
So that day is pretty much the day to meet anyone and that's involved with this entire event. That pretty much a good chance that they will all be there.
Yes.
That's correct. And also a great chance to dress up, walk the red carpet, have an amazing dinner at Halekulani.
We have Getty photographers.
Amazing, beautiful night out on the town.
Yeah.
Okay, so now you mentioned the website .org. HIFF.org. So that tells me it's like a nonprofit organization.
We
usually,
are
right?
a nonprofit. That's correct.
Tell me what makes it that? What is it's sort of it's a charitable endeavor, so to speak.
So we are we love that we're mission oriented. You know, there are other film organizations on this island and in the Pacific region, but in Hawaii, we are the only independent film festival. We don't have anyone else, you know, any one major person or organization that backs us. You know, we are able to hear, you know, from our audiences and from our members and listen to what they want and what they're interested in, and bring together groups from all across Hawaii, both through sponsorships and attendees. And that's so important to us. And it allows us to really like be at the forefront of what's happening in media, both in Hawaii and in a national and international landscape. We're able to be really innovative because we're not restricted in the same ways as other organizations. And you know, our mission is focused on sharing culture through film, which is what HIFF has always been about since the very beginning. Showcasing Asian cinema, showcasing the best from America and Europe, showcasing what's happening in this region. You know, we see HIFF as a tastemaker, right? Like we're showing the latest, the greatest, the breakthroughs that people don't know about yet. We see HIFF as a placemaker, right? So we're showing, you know, we're talking about what's happening in Hawaii, in the Pacific region, and we're talking about that on an international level. And we're offering a platform for those stories here to go farther. And you know, we're a trendsetter. We are trying to cultivate the local community here. That's a huge part of our mission. What can we do through our industry events, through our education that Anna was talking about, going to schools, bringing filmmakers from around the world to schools, bringing, you know, the industry in Hawaii together at this culminating event of our fall festival, to be able to really like cultivate that industry and help people that are living and working in Hawaii sort of make it to the level that they're trying to achieve. And that's the mission of HIFF.
The expansion of the arts and the humanities, so to speak, right, in general.
Yeah, and the expansion of culture and the appreciation of how people are communicating with each other and the stories that we have, you know, both through preservation of stories and innovation of stories, and it's all of that.
And so where do you folks, I know it's hard to predict, but where do you folks see HIFF going from here on?
Well, I think that's all of the things that Beckie just mentioned in terms of our mission are also our goals for the future years. We want to increase our support for the local film community. We want to help cultivate a made in Hawaii film. We want to help bring Hawaii's films to the world, and we also want to continue to bring films from the world to the Hawaii community. And so I think that furthering that mission is what we see in the future. Of course, we are looking to expand as the landscape of media changes to incorporate new different types of media into the festival, whether that be online streaming media, television, and there's exciting things happening in virtual reality. The landscape of how we consume media is changing, so we want to incorporate more of that into our future as a film festival.
It's super exciting, right? I mean, I love this question because we're thinking about it all the time, right? So how people are watching films is changing rapidly. So how are we as a film showcase and a film festival also changing to do that? And we're constantly thinking about it, and we're constantly talking about it. And there's so many different ways to see films now. You know, technology is changing so fast. And so right now we're thinking about ways to showcase like innovative exhibition strategies. So, you know, in a gallery space or in virtual reality space, and how can HIFF start showing more of that type of work, and then also just really paying attention to like what that next thing is, right? So what is going to be that next technological breakthrough, and how are we going to incorporate in that festival? And at the same time, you know, how are we really going to like make sure that stories from this region are being told in a bigger way, you know, are being shared with audiences in LA, in New York, in Asia, and that's how HIFF is going to be moving forward over the next number of years. We're turning 40 in 2020, and so, you know, the goal is at that point we are the same like strong festival that we always have been, and we're just bringing in new innovative media to be able to showcase.
Can you talk a little bit about, and you know, we're starting to tick down on time a little bit, but can you talk a little bit about Hawaii itself? State of Hawaii. It's movie production, successes and and all that, and the growth of it?
Sure. Well, I think there's two types of production that are in Hawaii. There's films that are big studio films that are made in Hawaii. They're not necessarily set in Hawaii. They're produced here. They're shot here. They usually have big studio backing. I'm thinking things like Kong Skull Island, the Pirates of the Caribbean, those types of productions. And then there are productions that are made by Hawaii filmmakers, produced in Hawaii, that are telling Hawaii stories. And I think that's what we're so interested in cultivating, is telling stories of our community through film. And this year is an amazing year for those types of stories in our program. We have Kuleana, a Maui set narrative feature that's fantastic. And we have Out of State, which is an amazing documentary from local filmmaker Kiara Lacey that we're very excited about too. And those are just a couple examples.
And the really cool thing about HIFF is that, because we're bringing in filmmakers from all over the world, filmmakers from Japan and a filmmaker from LA and a filmmaker from New York, and they all meet and then they all work on their next project together, right? And sometimes they work on their next project in Hawaii, and it's another way to cultivate the film industry in Hawaii and to share this amazing place that we have and the amazing culture that is here with the rest of the world, is by sort of like facilitating those connections. And HIFF is the largest convener in the state, of film industry professionals, and to be able to see over the years people who have made relationships here and then who have gone on to work together is really, really remarkable.
Any last words that you want to share to the community?
I just want to say, go to HIFF.org, Hawaii International Film Festival, on November 2nd to the 12th here on Oahu. Please come check it out.
It's such a fun event, and we have films that are just across the board, and we will have something that you will love. We will have things that will challenge you. We will have films that will make you laugh, will make you cry, and by attending HIFF, you're supporting an organization that is really trying to give back to the community in a big way by attending, by sponsoring, by coming to an event. Your ticket counts. It means something. So,
and
thank you.
Show times, just in general, or do they run from morning to evening?
Morning to evening, especially on the weekends. Yep.
So weekdays more from
weekdays
afternoon.
more afternoon. Yep. Yep.
Yeah. So anytime really from like 2 p.m. to 10 p.m. at the Regal Dill Cannery. And then on the weekends from like 10 a.m. to 10 p.m. we're showing the hits from around the world, and you're gonna see stuff you've never seen.
Okay,
Yeah.
ladies,
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And everybody, thank you for joining me. Till we see you next time. Aloha and ahui ho.